right, welcome everyone to another brand new deep dive from the All Sorts podcast. And today we're going to be doing something, well, I think truly special. It's not just looking back at history, it's almost like we're going to be stepping right into it, onto the shores of Santorini. Not Santorini as we know it today, but as it was thousands of years ago. Just imagine a bustling Bronze Age city frozen in time by, well, a pretty dramatic twist of fate. It's so well preserved that it's often been called the Greek Pompeii.
That's right. Today we're embarking on an in-depth exploration of Akrotiri, this extraordinary Minoan settlement located on the island of Santorini, a city that was quite literally entombed by a colossal volcanic eruption. We've gathered some fascinating insights for this deep dive, drawing from the Akrotiri Museum itself, Wikipedia, Greeka, secret hotels, and the News Herald.
Wow, so many great sources, and we really want to unearth the story of this ancient city.
We want to understand its significance, its cultural importance, and connect you, our listeners, directly to this ancient world.
So let's start peeling back these layers of time, shall we? Picture yourself stepping back thousands of years, and suddenly you stumble upon a city remarkably intact. And that's the essence of Akrotiri.
It really is, and it's located on what we know today as Santorini, which in ancient times was known as Thera. And the name Akrotiri itself actually means land's edge.
Land's edge is a pretty literal translation, right? And it actually comes from a nearby modern village.
Exactly. And it's interesting to think that the original name the inhabitants gave to their city is still unknown to this day, a mystery lost to time.
A mystery, wow. And speaking of mysteries, how did Akrotiri resurface into our modern world? It wasn't an intentional archaeological expedition. It all started back in the 1860s when there was a need for pumice, that lightweight volcanic rock, and they needed it for the Suez Canal Bridge, that huge engineering project.
Right. And so they started quarrying for pumice. And in a twist of fate, they unearthed artifacts from this lost city. Who knew?
It really makes you think about all the hidden stories just beneath our feet.
Absolutely. Those initial discoveries did prompt some small-scale digs.
Right. But it was really only in 1967 that full-scale excavations started, and they were led by Spirit and Marinados. And here's the amazing part. Within the first few hours of digging, they uncovered an intact structure. Just like that.
It's incredible to think that even now, excavations are still going on, and it's estimated that only a small percentage of the city, less than 10%, has been uncovered. Just imagine the scale of this place.
I know, and to protect those fragile mud brick buildings, there's a modern structure that covers the site.
Yes, with a bioclimatic roof that was completed in 2012.
Oh, wow. It's a reminder that preserving the past takes real effort.
Right, and it's worth mentioning that this wasn't the first roof. The previous one, unfortunately, collapsed in 2005.
A reminder that preservation is an ongoing process. But let's dive into Akrotiri itself. It wasn't just some small outpost. It was a real hub during the Bronze Age.
Exactly. We think it was established around 3000 BC, or maybe even a little earlier, and in its earliest stages, it was likely a small fishing and farming village.
It must have grown significantly over time to become the city that it was.
Oh, absolutely. Especially by the end of the 3rd millennium BC, it was flourishing.
And its location was key, right?
Absolutely. It was perfectly positioned on a major maritime trade route between Cyprus and Minoan Crete.
And that made it super important for commerce.
Exactly, especially for the copper trade. Think about it. Copper was essential for making tools, weapons, all sorts of things back then.
So Akrotiri was right in the middle of this network. And there's even evidence, like molds and crucibles that were found there, showing that they were processing copper on site.
It's amazing. It must have contributed greatly to their prosperity.
I bet. And it wasn't just copper. They found pottery fragments from other places, suggesting that they had trading relationships with other Aegean cultures.
Imagine the harbor bustling with ships from all over.
Yeah, bringing in all kinds of goods and new ideas.
A real melting pot of cultures. And when you think about the Ancient Bronze Age, the emergence of a city as advanced as Akrotiri is really incredible.
In what ways was it so advanced?
Well, for one, it had paved streets, a sophisticated drainage system using things like terracotta pipes, and multi-story buildings.
Multi-story, wow.
Some buildings had up to 3 levels, which is pretty remarkable for that time period. And then there's the high-quality pottery, the skilled craftsmanship they displayed, and all the other specialized crafts. It all points to a well-organized society with a high level of skill.
They must have had access to such a wide range of goods. Local pottery and metalwork and exotic things brought in through trade.
Precisely. It must have been a pretty cosmopolitan place, buzzing with activity.
It's fascinating to think about their daily lives. And the houses they lived in actually give us some insights into their social structure.
Right. Many of the houses had intricate decorations, and the furniture and personal belongings are so well preserved.
It really helps archaeologists understand how families lived.
Absolutely. It gives us clues about the roles people had within their households, and maybe even hints at their social standing.
And let's not forget the art. The frescoes are simply stunning.
They're truly remarkable, and they're not just decoration. They give us a window into their world, depicting everything from nature to mythology to everyday scenes.
The colors are so vibrant.
Yes, and that's partly because the pigments were derived from minerals. They used whites, yellows, reds, browns, blues, and blacks.
It's amazing how well they've survived, and there's such a variety. In 1968, they found fragments of frescoes showing a head of an African, a blue monkey, and large blue birds in flight.
Those early discoveries were just a taste of what was to come. In 1969, they unearthed the Blue Monkeys fresco.
It's so iconic, and it depicts these blue monkeys hanging out in a rocky volcanic landscape, which really resembles the area surrounding Akrotiri even today. It's pretty wild.
Imagine being the archaeologist who stumbled upon that.
And then, in 1970, they discovered the spring fresco. This was a huge find because it was the first perfectly preserved fresco found standing upright in its original position.
An unbelievable moment in archaeological history.
And even the frescoes that were found detached, like the fisherman and the lady from the House of Ladies, offer an astonishing level of detail. The clothing, the way they're standing, you can really see the care and skill that went into creating these works of art.
It's truly incredible, and the clothing depicted in some of these frescoes is quite elaborate, which leads some to believe there was a prosperous middle class in Akrotiri.
It all adds to the picture of this sophisticated society. And it's not just the frescoes that are so revealing. Even everyday objects like pottery tells a lot about the people of Akrotiri.
Right. They used pottery for so many things. Storage, transport, preparing food, eating, drinking. The sheer quantity of pottery fragments they found shows just how important it was in their lives.
And each piece had a specific purpose, like a unique shape or size. It really helps us understand their economy, their diet, and their daily routines.
Absolutely. And in some cases, they've even found jugs with traces of oil and barley still inside. It's a direct link to what they ate and the goods they treated.
That's incredible. It's like a window into their pantry. And can you believe that the volcanic ash acted as a mold for their wooden furniture?
Yeah, it's mind-boggling. We have plaster casts of their beds, tables, chairs, even stools.
Wow. It's like a snapshot of their homes.
And some of the offering tables even have decorated legs, showing that artistry was woven into their everyday lives.
It's amazing how much we can learn from these everyday objects. But tragically, all of this came to an end with the Theron eruption.
Right. We think this happened sometime in the 16th century BC, but the exact date is still up for debate. There's a lot of research going on: radiocarbon dating, tree ring analysis. Some estimates point to a range between 1627 and 1600 BC.
Regardless of the exact year, it was one of the most powerful volcanic eruptions in history, and it definitely shaped the future of the age.
Oh, absolutely. It was a massive event. And for Akrotiri, it was both devastating and, in a way, preserving. The eruption buried the city in volcanic ash, creating a time capsule that has allowed it to survive for thousands of years.
It's like Pompeii, but with its own unique features. The preservation is remarkable. Frescoes, pottery, furniture, even the drainage systems are mostly intact.
Right. But there is one very striking difference between Akrotiri and Pompeii. No unburied human remains have been found at Akrotiri. No skeletons.
Yeah, that's pretty mysterious. Why do we think that is?
Well, the leading theory is that there were precursory earthquakes, maybe about 10 days before the eruption.
So the inhabitants had some warning.
Exactly. They likely had time to evacuate before the main event. And that could explain why there aren't many valuable artifacts found at the site either.
Right. They probably went back between the earthquakes and the eruption to collect their belongings.
That's what many believe. It shows a certain level of foresight and determination.
I can't even imagine going back to my home under those circumstances.
And think about the wider impact of this eruption. Many believe that the tsunami it generated traveled south and reached Crete.
And that it might have contributed to the decline of the Minoan civilization there.
Exactly. It's a reminder of how interconnected the ancient world was and how events in one place could have ripple effects across vast distances. Some even believe this cataclysmic eruption could have been the inspiration behind Plato's Atlantis, a once powerful civilization swallowed by the sea.
It's fascinating. So what makes Akrotiri such an important site for us today?
Well, it's one of the most important prehistoric sites in the entire Aegean. It gives us such a clear window into the Minoan civilization during the Bronze Age.
And it shows just how advanced they were.
Absolutely. Think about the art, the engineering, the economic activity. It all speaks to a sophisticated culture with a deep understanding of the world around them.
I know. If you're ever in Santorini, you can visit Akrotiri yourself. Most of the artifacts are housed in the Museum of Prehistoric Thera in Fira.
But some of the well-preserved frescoes are in the National Archaeological Museum in Athens.
It's pretty cool to think that they have artifacts from this ancient city spread across Greece. And it's interesting that only a single gold object has been found at Akrotiri, a small figurine of a goat.
It's amazing, isn't it? So much preserved, but hardly any gold. And walking through the ruins within that modern structure is an experience unlike any other. You can see the streets, the houses. It's like stepping back in time.
They even have walkways so you can walk above the ancient city. For anyone who wants to visit, the site is near the modern village of Akrotiri.
You can get there by car, bus, or tour.
Just be sure to check the opening hours as they change with the season. And once you're there, they have informative boards to help you understand the significance of everything you're seeing.
Akrotiri truly is a remarkable time capsule. It gives us this unparalleled look at a sophisticated Bronze Age society.
It's amazing to think about their urban planning, their art, and the dramatic story of their preservation. What are some of the things you think our listeners should take away from this deep dive?
Where I think the sudden end of Akrotiri, juxtaposed against its remarkable preservation, really makes you think about the fragility of civilizations.
It really does. And the enduring power of the past.
What secrets might still be hidden under the volcanic ash?
It's a thought-provoking question. Well, if you enjoyed this deep dive into Akrotiri, brought to you by the All Sorts podcast, we have a whole archive of past episodes waiting for you.
We've explored so many fascinating topics, and we'd love for you to join us on this journey of discovery.
Be sure to like and subscribe to the All Sorts podcast on YouTube so you never miss a new episode. And share this exploration with your friends, your family, anyone who might be interested in the past.
You can also follow us on X, Instagram, and Threads for updates and more.
We're the All Sorts podcast, and we can't wait to continue exploring with you.